So today I have a very special guest for you. This is Connor. I think it's Kirsten. I want to guess it's Kirsten.
That's correct.
Who
Yes.
who works for Xborg, which is a premium identity layer for crypto gaming and gaming in general. But that's the point. I don't know too much about it, and I really want to learn more. So I've got a whole host of questions from anything ranging from their player identity layer, the esports teams they're partnered with, XBG token, and the Prometheus NFTs, as well as some of their future plans and things like the AI interfaces that I'm very curious to learn more about. So before we jump too deep into it, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you're involved with Xborg, and what your role is at the company?
Sure thing. So obviously my name is Connor. I lead the marketing team and the growth team at Xborg. Part of the founding team. So I've been at Xborg for about 3 years now. And what was the other part of your question? Sorry.
So what's your role within Xborg?
Yes. Well, there we go. I answered it for you.
All right. So previously, I knew Xborg as more of like an esports team because I knew quite a few of the players from there. They used to play in my tournaments and things like that. What has changed in the past few years? Are you guys still an esports team or much more than that?
Much more than that. When we first started out, we were really building our community and building our product. And so, the goal for, we really wanted to help nurture the Web3 gaming scene. And so we hosted, quite a few tournaments. This was part of our community growth strategy initially within I think the first year or so that Xborg was around. So we hosted a lot of tournaments within the Web3 scene, I think like 200 on different Web3 games. And we also, supported players, supported some of the best players in the space, and assembled our own teams on some of the top games back in the day, like, Eve.io and Gods Unchained. And I'm sure Illuvium, I'm sure you can remember these games that were, leading the way initially. And so that's really how we, grew our community, and also connected with all of the different games within the Web3 space. It was really fruitful. But now obviously Xborg is a lot bigger than a tournament organizer or an esports team.
Yeah, and there's no doubt in my mind that Xborg, like I didn't realize until a few months ago when I saw a lot of the stuff with the token release and things like that, that Xborg's community is insane. They're actually so dedicated and just so strong. Like they give me the same sort of vibes as the Lizard community as well. And I love both of those projects. So it's really cool to see that. And I'm glad that I've started jumping more into it, started getting more involved in the community in that way. And it's really exciting times ahead. So the main component of Xborg, or at least something that's at the very top of your website, let's say, is you guys talk about a player identity layer. What does this actually mean for someone who might not have seen Xborg before?
Sure. So, for us, our goal is to build a player identity protocol. What that means is we really are building building tools, products, infrastructure that allows developers to easily create games and applications that leverage player identities. So that's essentially, what we're doing. We want to make it really easy for developers to build apps and games that provide personalized experiences for players based on who they are. So as a player, perhaps you play, many different games. I know for myself, I play a few different games, like let's say Rocket League and Call of Duty. My Call of Duty stats are just stuck in this Call of Duty. Next Call of Duty comes out the next year, and then I start on level 1 as a brand new player again. And the same goes as when you switch between games. Each game doesn't know about you, doesn't know who you are, what you've done, why you're unique, which esports teams you love, which streamers you connect with, nothing about you. And we really think that's a shame, and are leveraging blockchain tech so that you can have this universal ID as a player And then you can log into different games and applications with this ID, and have personalized experiences. So new experiences based on who you are that give you, richer and more enjoyable, gaming experiences, whether that's in an app or within a game. It could be, like unique NPC conversations or
Ah,
interactions.
okay. Hmm.
So the kind of use cases and utilities are pretty big, and we're quite excited to see what developers, where their imagination goes and what they build.
Hmm.
But essentially, that is what we are creating at Xborg.
So to drill a little bit deeper, the start of that, it sounded almost like a gamer's social media platform to a certain extent, where you can kind of see the achievements of other players the same way you might be able to in like PlayStation Online or your Steam profile and things like that. And then you talk more about personalized experiences. I guess the question I have is, say the main game I'm really looking forward to right now is Monster Hunter Wilds. Say you had a partnership with Capcom in some way. Would you have every single player log in with Xborg, or would it be like an optional thing, or not really tied into the game that way at all?
It'll be an optional thing, for
Hmm.
sure. We integrate with, currently with many different gaming platforms. So more so the platforms than like an individual game, for example. So
Hmm.
with Steam, Epic Games, Riot Games, Blizzard, Activision,
Hmm.
and then also on the social side like YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Discord.
Hmm.
And so we aggregate data from all of these different APIs. And so we can, for example, most games are on these platforms. And so we've already integrated with, most of the games in the space. And so players can build their identity across these different games. And then on the experience side, the game or the app would need to integrate the ID. So as per your example of Monster Hunter, they would need to say, okay, cool. We really, if we want to, provide unique experiences for players based on who they are, and we think Xborg is, one has, the most comprehensive kind of like data set, as well as they have the bigger kind of player base, and we want to integrate with Xborg, then they could offer, personalized experiences based on the Xborg ID. So yeah, that's kind of how it would work. The games, currently now we can basically build your identity on all these different games and across all these different social medias. But in the future, games and apps would need to integrate the ID in order, and then also, you know, make it possible so that players could have unique experiences, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I can see that a lot of Web3 games would probably start jumping at the bit for this personalized experience type thing, because interoperability is a really big part of the ethos for crypto gaming. Do you have any Web2 partners that have already started talking about that with you, or not yet?
Well, I mean, our biggest clients at the moment are Web2 partners.
Hmm.
So, Team Liquid, Ninjas of
Hmm.
Pajamas, and Team BDS are our first three clients, that are big top esports teams in Web2, right?
Hmm.
And so, I'll take the Team Liquid example. They previously had a fan platform called Liquid Plus. They moved over to My Blue recently, which is
Hmm.
built by us on Sui, because you know they're the biggest esports team in the world. They have a huge fan base, and they really want to keep innovating and one understand their fans better, and reward their fans better and interact with their fans better. And you
Mm.
can do all three of these things um, by understanding who the players are and what's unique about them. What do they like? What are their preferences? What are their aspirations, etc. And so, yes, we already have big Web3 partners. I mean, big Web2 partners that are extremely interested in the player ID and how they can offer better experiences for their user base or their fan base with it.
Yeah, and I think I saw their website for My Blue the other day, and I was actually pretty impressed, but I don't quite understand how that works with your overall system. So you guys, is these two separate identity layers? Do you have the Xborg suite and whatever you make for these other companies, or is it the one and the same?
So the the MyBlue app is a customized. It's like a
Hmm.
fully customizable white label solution that we build for
Sure.
Team Liquid. So we within that product, which we call our fan app, let's say,
Hmm.
we have a fully customizable white label solution. We also have an SDK to help developers or brands spin up their own fan app that, let's say, is not as customized, doesn't have as deep of integrations or custom integrations. And we're working also on a third kind of part of the product where you can pick and choose features quickly, as sort of kind of like a SaaS, um, software as a service kind of business model. Um, so that's kind of how it all fits in. It's all powered by us. We build all the applications or all the tools that they would use. Um, and But in Team Liquid's case, they really wanted a fully customizable solution. They wanted to integrate with Sui. They wanted to have,
Mm.
because Sui is a big partner of theirs. They wanted to have, a few customized features for them.
Mm. So does Xborg have their own app as well? Is that live or not yet?
So our own app. So I mean, we that is like our app.
Mm.
We also have what we call the dojo. It's Ninjas in Pajamas
Hmm.
fan app as well. That is also live. And then we're currently working with Team BDS to launch My BDS, which is their fan app too. Um, I did mention that we do have what we call an fan stack SDK.
Hmm.
Um, we are actually testing that out currently at the moment, and we'll be launching our own kind of fan app for Xborg, the Xborg community. That will be kind of a sandbox where we literally test every single feature before we give it to a client.
Sure.
So we're going to
Yep.
be breaking that a lot, but that'll be coming out pretty soon. So in terms of like our own app for our community, we'll have that, and they'll see everything way before like esports teams or our new vertical, which is content creators. They'll see it before them.
Mm. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, I love the idea. I've always loved the idea of seeing all of my achievements on one screen, and even going back and like adding some like random games that you never think to add to that sort of stuff. So, the next thing I want to talk about is I've seen discussion that if you had, say, CS:GO player data on your player identity, then maybe Xborg or whatever fan app can connect you with beta testing access for relevant games through different partnerships and things like that. Do you think these would be Web3 games only, or do you think Web2 partners would also utilize this in that way?
Of course, of course. Like I mentioned, our biggest partnerships are with Web2 companies.
Mm.
And now that we've launched the MyBlue app, and I don't know if you saw their like kind of marketing launch for that. They
Mm.
did a whole bunch of things with Alienware on their Twitch and all this kind of stuff. It was great. I think it happened like 2 weeks ago. We've had massive brands in Web2 reach out to us to work with us, because they're extremely interested in one, Web3 NFTs, as well as digital identity, and how they can leverage that. And so, yeah, most of what we're going to be doing is with Web2 companies, and we, extremely excited about that.
So we've talked a lot about Web2 companies, but how many Web2 games have you partnered with? Or are you more focused on the esports partners than anything else?
So right now we focused on esports teams, brands like big brands that are diving into the gaming space.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a player ID, so we are focused on the gaming sector,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then also content creators. And when I say content creators, I mean like streamers,
Mm.
like big gaming streamers. So yeah, that's kind of our focus area at the moment. We obviously build fan apps, which is our first product. And so a lot of the clients that we're chatting to are interested in that kind of product. Content creators, gaming brands, and esports teams. I think that fits them extremely well. However, in the future, we do have plans for our own other products that we want to build ourselves, like 2 or 3 that we can think of over the next 5 years. We do have this idea in our mind to build a game ourselves. That would be the first game that leverages player identity, which could be really interesting. And then what we will do is, we really want to build. Well, currently we're focusing on distribution. Scaling the network. I think a lot of protocols are. I mean, you see ghost protocols and chains that don't really have users and all this kind of stuff. For us, really important to get users and great products. And then what we'll do is open the network, allow other developers to come in and build whatever they want that leverages the ID. So I think you mentioned something about beta testing and all this kind of stuff. You can do a lot with player IDs, we'll allow developers to kind of let their imagination run wild.
Yeah, I definitely think fan apps and things suit creators and esports teams and stuff really, really well. And I think that makes absolute sense. I'm very excited to hear what you might have up next for different products that you're thinking about. But first, here's a question that I feel like sometimes I'm the only one that asks this question, but this sort of thing's really important to me when I'm talking to a project that I want to see grow and thrive, right? And it's with the products you currently have, with the fan apps and things like that. How does Xborg and the partner actually generate revenue from this product?
Well, currently we get paid by our partners for our product. So that is, I would say, kind of our first revenue stream. We on retainers with these big partners, and we will be in the web, which is kind of unheard of in the Web3 space. You normally see blockchains and all these Web3 companies sponsoring other companies and saying, please use our tech and say that it's the fastest blockchain in the world and it's going to change lives. For us, it's not the case. You don't see Xborg on any esports jerseys, none of this kind of stuff. It's because we're not sponsors. And that's why Team Liquid has not said Xborg is the best thing since fried rice. So that's number one. We actually get paid. These guys are our clients. We're not sponsors. Second, way we generate revenue is in-app monetization. So basically turning on the marketplace, the store features, trading, battle pass, all these kind of little microtransactions, we get revenue share. So anything that happens within the app, we get revenue share, and we have revenue share agreements with every single client we work with. And as we scale our first product, which is fan apps, to more esports teams, more gaming brands, and then content creators, we expect revenue to increase quite dramatically.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny, right? Esports has always had a revenue problem. You've heard of so many different esports companies going bankrupt or whatever, and just not having any money to pay the bills. And at least in Australia, I don't know, I'm from Melbourne, Australia. So our big sport here is AFL. And basically our AFL teams make all their money from club memberships. And you go to the games and you buy all the merch and stuff like that. And I actually really see these fan apps as kind of an extension of that. They're like your club membership for an esports team. And it's just but all of that in the 21st century, in the modern age. And I think that's really interesting. And I think the revenue share is obviously that makes the most sense there. So that's really cool. So now we will move on to the Xborg token, XBG, and the Prometheus NFT. So first up, give me a rundown. What is the XBG token and how does it actually fit within the ecosystem?
Sure. So we only have one token, which is XBG. So it's our native governance and utility token within the Xborg ecosystem. What's quite unique about us is that we have only raised with the token. We haven't raised with equity. So we've rejected a lot of VC deals or any deals that include equity. Why? Because we want all the value we don't want to split value between shareholders and token holders. All the value, all the interest goes to token holders. So we've only raised with the token. That's our, that's the main focus for Xborg. How it fits into our ecosystem, governance plays a big role in Xborg. So governance is one. We've had about 20 Xborg improvement proposals, and they've always impacted the company in really big ways. We did one earlier this year. It was number 14, probably our biggest one, which was to go the centralized exchange route or the decentralized exchange route on our token launch, which was quite a popular proposal. The community decided on this. 100%. The team actually abstained their vote, which is cool. So community really gets to co-build the protocol with us, and also shape the future of the protocol. So that's really important. In-app payments is sorry, go for it.
No, you keep going.
I was going to say another utility is in-app payments. So XBG token, powers the protocol. Will be used for API fees, all these kind of things, between developers wanting to leverage, the ID, as well as within the applications themselves. Paying for certain things, transacting, trading fees, all these kind of stuff is powered by XBG. And then in the future, we want to have our own chain. So XBG will be a gas token. And the other one I can think of is our reward pool. We call it the XBG reward program. Basically our way of giving back value to our token holders based on the value that Xborg generates. So currently we airdrop about 1 million tokens a month to XBG holders. I think it's now, it's actually 2 million. It's 1 million. 1 million XBG a month to XBG holders. And we've allocated like 5% of our token supply, I think, to this for the next 2 years. But in the future, it'll be powered by Xborg revenues.
So you want to build your own blockchain. I want to get into this blockchain thing a little bit, because for anyone who doesn't know, XBG is actually on the Arbitrum blockchain. Thankfully, it wasn't on Solana. I hate using Solana. I just hate bridging to it and stuff. It's such a pain. I really enjoy Arbitrum, Polygon, and Ethereum and so on. Anyways, it's on the Arbitrum blockchain. And you mentioned that Team Liquid is using the Sui blockchain. How does your token and infrastructure and everything actually function cross-track? Does it? It's like a first that I've seen for any project, really. Projects often steer away from the whole cross-chain interoperability.
Not us. We are chain agnostic, and we don't just say it. XBG is actually deployed on Ethereum, and it has a trading pool on Arbitrum, and then also a trading pool on Solana through Wormhole. So we are on Solana, unfortunately. No, I mean, we love Solana. I can red pill you on them after this. And then we also build on Sui for Team Liquid, but we are actually chatting to loads of different blockchain ecosystems to build other fan apps on their chain. So we are, we can build anywhere. For us, deploying the token was all about where are the buyers, how to make it easy as possible to trade XBG and get access to it, all this kind of stuff. And so, yeah, that's why we went with this. And, we're happy to, I think, the future is multi-chain. So we're really open to being chain agnostic.
Yeah, I think the future absolutely is multi-chain, and anyone who's not going to be doing it in 2025 is making a serious mistake, because they'll get left behind. Like, once something is, if you have a choice between multi-chain and not multi-chain, the choice is obvious. But on that note, there's so many different things that go into crypto, and I'm not sure where Xborg is based, and I'll ask that in a second. But how do you guys set up all the frameworks to work with regulation? Because since you're working with so many different clients, especially Web2 clients that have more traditional company setups and they're not just all DAOs or whatever, you've probably got to figure your infrastructure into so many different regulatory bodies. How are you guys managing all that?
That's an interesting question. We have a pretty strong legal team at Xborg. Something that really helped us in the early stages was being so close to Swissborg, because they're obviously an exchange, and they have, I think, 17 different entities, and many licenses and all this kind of stuff. And so they really helped us early on, and then we obviously built out our own legal team. So we headquartered in Dubai, in the UAE, but then we also have other entities around the world to help us with different things like token and all these kind of other things. It is quite interesting working with these really big brands, because they, huge companies. Kind of funny to hop on these calls sometimes, and there's like two of us and 20 people from their marketing team. Very different to Web3, but yeah, we're getting along just fine.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Xborg and XBG, as Connor was talking about a minute ago with the proposal that went through, they set off a brand new meta when it came to token launches, where you might have to explain it better than me, but you guys put all of your tokens onto the DEX straight away, basically, or there are no VCs, but like, does anyone have locked up tokens at all?
So the team's tokens are locked. So we launched. So essentially, what we realized was, we were chatting to. I mean, this year was a bit of a crazy year, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the gaming industry. We had a lot of hyped gaming projects early on in March. Portal, gaming, Param, all these kind of different tokens, Block. And everyone was doing these big social fire campaigns, all this kind of stuff. And then we saw them launch on exchanges, and I think they did everything to try and get these big exchange listings, and then the token just went to shit kind of quickly after listing on these exchanges. And we just thought, we were discussing with exchanges at the time, and it was really difficult to get a listing, even as it was all about. I mean, we were working with some of the biggest gaming brands in the world, yet a company with no product can just list on the biggest exchange because they had 1 million people spamming their ticker on Twitter. So it was kind of a weird period for us, and we saw that all of these launches were doing pretty badly. We were chatting to top 5 exchanges at the time, and they were saying, we had a listing lined up, 2 listings lined up with top 5 exchanges. I won't say their names, but the requirements were pretty high. They wanted a lot of funds. They wanted a lot of the token. They also wanted our circulating supply to be less than 5%. Yet, and then therefore most of, out of that 5%, our community would only get a little bit unlocked for themselves, and the rest would be unlocked for the exchange and the market maker.
Oh.
We thought that was extremely unfair, and probably a big reason why token launches did very poorly this year. So we just decided to say, that's not the way. We raised with our community. We raised about 10 million. We rejected VCs all the way because we wanted our, we wanted players to be involved in Xborg and to win when we win. We decided to go the DEX route, or the community decided actually via the proposal to unlock all, to unlock the community raised tokens. So that's we launched with about 20% circulating supply, and we launched DEX only with no market makers. And essentially what happened on launch is, we had a pretty big sell event that was mostly KOLs from our KOL round, just like dumping their whole bag in the first hour. And then price kind of stabilized at about 70 million FDV, which was kind of fine for then. But essentially, what it allowed us to do was, one, unlock all of the community's tokens, have no vesting and no big unlocks going into the future, and have no kind of sell pressure from exchanges, market makers, all these kind of guys that don't act in the best interest of your community.
Yeah, and then for anyone who doesn't know, your token shot up like, what was it, like 4x in a week or something? Like it went ballistic. I couldn't get it off my timeline. Not that I wanted to, but you know what I mean. And yeah, no, it was just crazy to see that Xborg did everything right by their community, and it paid off for them. The community came back in force to support the project, and honestly, that was really exciting. I didn't have any XBG at the time. That was exciting for me to see on the sidelines, and it made me really hopeful for the future of crypto and crypto communities in general. So the other thing you guys have is you guys have an NFT called Prometheus. What is that? I don't.
Yeah, so Prometheus has a really special place in our hearts. We launched Xborg in, I would say, the start of 2022. And we decided that we wanted to, at the time we had only raised with like angel investors, guys from like Bybit, ESL, Faceit, stuff like this. And we wanted to get the community involved and invested at an early stage. And so at the time, it was pretty bad bear market vibes. I don't know if you remember 2022.
Oh, yeah.
BTC was under $20,000. It was terrible. Every company was kind of crashing. And anyways, so in September, we decided to mint the Prometheus NFT, a 1,111 collection. Basically, our like most loyal supporters. That is basically what the Prometheus collection is. It's our most loyal supporters. It's the highest tier within our ecosystem. We always give the best benefits to Prometheus holders. And so we knew we were going to generate a ton of value as a company. And we wanted these guys to like win the most, whoever kind of, invested from an early stage and supported us, like to win the most. So we launched the NFT for, I think it was a $400 mint price in September 2022, which was crazy at the time. I mean, if you launch an NFT now for $400 mint price, good luck with minting that thing out. But this was like peak bear market. But these guys, minted it out in 20 minutes. It was insane. So much support. Everyone kind of bought into the vision of the company. And, moving forward, we've always get like, whenever we just co-build with Prometheans, obviously give them the best utilities and all this kind of stuff in the ecosystem. But it's really been cool to build with a group of, like 600, 700 people that, are extremely involved in Xborg. And when you say that our community is really strong, it's really strong because these guys have been around building with us forever. We decide on decisions together. Everything happens within the Prometheus chat on the Xborg Discord. And it's really cool to see. And they've obviously, they're up like crazy amount of X's since they've invested. And that's who we want to win at the end of the day. We don't want like some VC who has a ton of money already, who just invests to make money. It's these guys that are building with us every single day in the trenches. They were here when the markets were red. They backed us in the worst times. And now they are, doing extremely well. So that is the Prometheus NFT.
And that sounds like the Xborg way, community first at every point. So before you talked about there's a rewards pool that people can get over, I think you said the next 2 years, 1 million tokens, I believe you said. So I looked on the website myself and I bought some XBG the other day. I just couldn't sit on the sidelines any longer. And I want to buy more, but I don't have the powder at the moment. I bought some and I looked at this pledging system you guys have on the website. What is the pledge? How does the pledging work?
Sure. So pledging really rewards our loyal holders. We wanted to not have a hard staking platform. Whenever we do something, we always try and innovate and see how we can do it better. So essentially, what pledging is we airdrop 1 million XBG per month to holders, which is about $200,000 at current price. All they need to do is connect their wallet to our XBG hub and promise. We call it pledging, but it's basically promising. Let's say you have 10,000 XBG tokens. You pledge 5,000. That means that for the month, for 30 days, your wallet balance won't drop below 5,000 XBG, and then you'll get rewards based on that. So, we have a total amount of, let's say, 50 million XBG pledged. You'll get rewarded based on how much you've pledged, how long you've pledged for, and then also your multiplier boosts. So, you get a 20% boost per Prometheus NFT you own. You get a 2% boost based on how many chestplate NFTs you own. We also have partner NFTs, and then a boost for governance proposals, season streaks, and in-app activity boosts. So that's our pledge program. So
I love it. And
we call it pledging and not staking because the tokens stay in your wallet and they aren't locked and you can sell them at any time. So if you transfer your tokens out or sell them, you lose the reward. But we wanted people to, if you want to sell your XPG, sell your XPG, that's, or move it around. We same thing with, having no vesting and no locks and all this kind of stuff on community tokens. We wanted to make it really easy for people to get in and out of positions. We have a very famous saying called study conviction. And those that have studied conviction have done quite well. So we like saying this.
Yeah, I made a video today about my top 5 crypto gaming picks, and I said the word conviction like too many times. Let's put it that way. Okay, so there's another thing I saw on you guys, because I knew a bunch of stuff I wanted to ask already, but I also looked on the website for some other things that might interest me, and there is something that caught my attention, and it's not just because it has the keyword of the past 5 years. But your website mentions AI agents and chatbots that understand the player and offer personalized experiences. Tell me all about that. I must know.
Yeah. So there's a bit of drama on the timeline today about this. We're not going to be, for us, we don't really want to chase trends and try and hop on the next hot thing to try and get some attention. For us, we chose the DEX route because we felt that was the best option and things needed to change. We weren't doing it because we're trying to be cool or it was like the hot new trend. So same with, building with AI within our company, like an AI product. We're going to integrate AI in a big way at Xborg, but we're not going to do it tomorrow just because now it's hot. We'll go step by step. So this is on the roadmap. It's part of the plan. And I think that, we believe that AI is going to be a big part of the future and can provide really cool experiences to players, whether that's, like I mentioned before, in-game, having, unique experiences or interactions with NPCs that are perhaps powered by AI and all these kind of different things. But for us, in our current product, we have like an avatar system. So if you have to join My Blue tomorrow, you'll see that you start with a level 1 blue character, and Blue is their little horse mascot that is like the center of their fandom. And then as you progress through the app, you can level him up. You can get different items for him that you can customize. These are NFTs on the Sui blockchain with different utilities and rarities and all this kind of stuff. But eventually, we want these avatars to be able to chat with you, connect with you, understand who you are, and provide really cool experiences for you and perhaps with you. And so that's kind of the direction we're going to go down first when it comes to AI. And I think we're one of the companies that can leverage AI in one of the coolest ways within gaming, because we have the player ID. We're building the player ID already. So I think that's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, I thought I would get over AI chatbots and things like ChatGPT, but they just keep getting better, and I keep finding new ways to integrate them into my life, and I'm looking forward to integrating a lot of these Xborg systems into my life, and so I think AI would be really helpful with that. And there's so many benefits. Like if the Steam and the PlayStation integration don't quite look the same, and AI can kind of figure that out and then mix them together in appropriate ways and things like that. So there's so many ways to utilize the tech. But the last thing I want to ask you, and thank you so much for your time today, but the last thing I want to ask you before we wrap this up is tell us what we could be excited for in the near and the distant future of Xborg. What's coming next?
What is coming next? So for us, we're going to be really focused on our first product, which is fan apps. We're scaling it to many esports teams, many content creators, and many gaming brands. So what you can look out for is really big partnerships with these kind of profiles. We'll be announcing these in 2025. We've already signed, I would say, 3 more partners, and are waiting for the right time to announce this with them in a really cool way. So yeah, quite looking forward to this. Further than that, we'll have other products that come out that are on our roadmap that we haven't started building yet. I did mention a few ideas. You also mentioned yourself, and yeah, I think that's quite interesting. Also, if you are interested in the token or anything like this, then a huge utility that's coming up is in-app payments and monetization. I think that's going to be a game changer for the token. So yeah, I would say those kind of 3 things are some of the big things I'm excited for.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. That was a really fun chat. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this one up?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It's really cool. Big fan of your content and everything you've been doing thus far. I mean, we've been in the space for a while, and we were around in the bear market and all this kind of stuff. So it's nice to see our industry growing over the years, and I'm really excited for the future. So keep up the good work, and let's keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to crypto gaming to really see its day. I'm not even talking about like token prices at this, but I'm just like, it seems to have faded into obscurity a little bit as memes and things have taken mind share. But I know that crypto gaming will come back, and all the games are getting so much better than they were like 2 years ago. Like it's night and day, and I just can't wait for the future. All right, have a good one.